Cecil Stedman has been built up to be the ultimate realist, a man who sees the world not as it should be, but as it is, and everything he does is based on that belief. He is willing to cross moral lines, sacrifice individuals, and weaponize anything at his disposal to ensure Earth's survival. And because of this, it is just strange that his greatest failure is not from his excessive ruthlessness or mistrust, but it is from a moment of misjudgment. His complete mishandling of conquest is not merely a small mistake. It is a catastrophic disaster that affected the entire Viltrumite war, weakening the coalition of planets, nearly enabling a future where the Viltrumites basically conquer everything, and it also allowed Conquest to torture Mark before he died.
We can be the good guys, or we can be the guys that save the world.
This failure begins with a contradiction of what we know about Cecil. Cecil's philosophy has always been rooted in preemption and control. When threats arise, he neutralizes them decisively, often permanently. He develops weapons like the sonic frequency kill switch, creates the reanimen, and demonstrates a willingness to act with brutal efficiency against even allies if he believes it is necessary. Yet when confronted with Conquest, one of the most dangerous Viltrumites ever encountered on Earth, Cecil abandons those principles. Instead of ensuring Conquest's death, he opts for containment, placing him in a comatose state in an underground facility. This decision is fundamentally flawed, not only because it underestimates the same Conquest that almost killed Invincible, but because it contradicts everything Cecil claims to stand for. Conquest is not like any other villain on Earth. He is a Viltrumite. Containment is inherently risky when dealing with such an individual.
The boy left me alive. Oh, stupid.
Cecil, who has demonstrated caution in other situations, fails to apply that same care here. The result is inevitable. Conquest escapes. This single event becomes the start of a series of devastating consequences. After his escape, Conquest returns back to Viltrum and eventually confronts Mark Grayson. Their second fight is almost fatal for Mark. The fight ends with Mark being disemboweled, barely surviving an encounter that leaves him physically broken. Mark then goes into a coma to heal from his injuries for almost 2 months. Nolan Grayson, one of the most powerful Viltrumites to defect from the Empire, chooses to remain by Mark's side to help with his recovery. Oliver Grayson does the same. This means that 3 of the Coalition's most powerful fighters are absent from the war during the first 2 months. In a war that will decide if Viltrumites will conquer the universe, this absence could have cost the Coalition everything. In 2 months, the war could have already been over.
He's strong. He should recover. Better to stay hidden and wait for him to recover.
But
He'll pull through. We just need to be patient. You were out almost 2 months.
2 months?
Everything that just happened to Mark and the Coalition was preventable. Cecil had both the knowledge and the tools to mitigate or eliminate the threat posed by Conquest. If he was unwilling to execute Conquest outright, perhaps for reasons of intelligence gathering, he could have implemented stronger safeguards. The sonic frequency technology he developed to incapacitate Viltrumites could have been implanted as a fail-safe, ensuring that any attempt at escape would result in immediate neutralization or death. He also could have built a more advanced prison cell that could hold someone as strong as Conquest. But he was either unable to or completely underestimated Conquest. But what was worse than all of that was Cecil's failure to communicate. After Conquest escapes, Cecil does not inform Mark or even Nolan of what happened. This one choice to keep silent is what caused Mark to almost die, because Mark leaves Earth unaware that Conquest is alive and that he will see him again.
No. There's no way. Jesus Christ!
This is what happens when you don't finish what you started, boy.
Remember that giant lobster you tangled with in Atlantis? I had the lab boys recreate the sound it made.
I killed you!
The element of surprise plays directly into Conquest's hands, allowing him to ambush and surprise Mark with the fact that he was alive. Had Cecil provided even a basic warning, Mark and Nolan could have prepared some sort of plan to deal with Conquest, or at the very least had the knowledge that Conquest was alive and that they would have to finish the job that was started on Earth. But they did not know. The reason why Cecil kept this information from Mark is never explained and will also never be justified. Cecil had a responsibility to come clean to Mark about the fact that he tried to contain Conquest and failed, and how Conquest has escaped Earth and how he should expect to see him in the future. But he doesn't. This lack of communication reflects a deeper issue within Cecil's approach: his tendency to centralize control and withhold information. This is a problem that he should have learned from, because his lack of trust is the reason he and Mark stopped working together.
We're done! And if you ever come near my family again, I will kill you.
Cecil only does what's necessary.
So I suppose it was necessary to put a bomb in Mark's head?
He just proved it was.
If Cecil did that to Mark, who's to say he wouldn't do that to all of us?
Cecil's shortcomings extend beyond Conquest and into the broader scope of the war itself. Despite spying on Mark and knowing that there is a war against the Viltrumites, he contributes nothing to the effort. Cecil has access to advanced technology, specialized weapons, and a network of resources that could have significantly aided the coalition. The Reaniman could have served as expendable foot soldiers against any Viltrumites. The sonic frequency that affects Viltrumites could have been adapted into any type of weapon that could be used in a fight against them. Yet Cecil does none of this. Instead, he just placed his hopes that Mark would win. This decision is not only unrealistic, but goes against Cecil's character. He is supposed to be a realist, not an idealist. Mark barely beat Conquest, and now he's going to fight 50 of them. Mark has no chance, and Cecil should have realized this and done everything to help defeat the Viltrumites away from Earth, but he doesn't.
Not that earpiece. The one we implanted when you were in our hospital. The one too deep to reach.
Cecil Stedman's greatest failure is not just that he allowed Conquest to escape. It is that this single decision exposes the fragility of his entire approach. He prides himself on being prepared for anything, yet he failed to anticipate the most predictable outcome. He believes in doing whatever is necessary, yet hesitates when he could have helped prevent the Viltrumites from conquering the universe. And in trying to control every variable, he loses control of the one that matters most. Every step of the way, Cecil proves that he is not competent enough to handle the protection of Earth and responsible enough to be trustworthy to the people that rely on him. His mishandling of Conquest and his decision to not help the coalition against the Viltrumites did not just endanger Earth, it put the entire universe at risk. And worse, these choices came back immediately to bite back at him, because now the Viltrumites are living on Earth, and the person that helped them the most was Cecil.
It's the first time this planet's been Viltrumite-free in over 20 years. Godspeed, boys.